Hey there, girlfriend. Ingafay here. Super excited to be with you all today. I'm so excited to share another coaching friend of Franco. He has been in direct sales for over 18 years, you all, and he has expanded his sales organization across 27 countries. I'm sure you guys want to find out how he did that. So we're going to get into that further, but we will see you inside. Well, hey there, Franco. How are you today?
Miss Ingafay, how are you, young lady? This is
Oh,
awesome. So excited to be on here with you.
yes, I am excited to have you as well. So, before we get into how to build your side hustle in the modern economy, I wanted to find out a little bit more about you so you can share who you are with my audience, what you do, who you serve, and how you serve them.
Great, thank you. I appreciate that. I'd be happy to. I got started as an entrepreneur at the age of 22. Started my very first company. I grew up, I had an old Italian dad that always said to me, Franco, always own your own business. So at the age of 22, when I got out of school, I said, okay, I guess I'm not working for somebody. I got to go start a business. And that's what I did. So I started different businesses. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. Very stressful. Let me tell you, owning traditional business is very stressful. That's why I lost all my hair from all the employees and office and rent and all the capital costs and everything that goes along with that. Oh my God, it was such a stressful time for me. And my first companies went nowhere. And then I built an internet company, a services company, and started to learn how to build companies. But it's funny because as you build traditional companies, you're going to go either one of two ways. One, you're going to love it, or two, you're going to hate it. And I hated it. And the reason is because time wasn't mine. And meaning that the companies always needed me. The companies always needed to have me around. Without me there, the companies wouldn't go anywhere. So it was always tough. It was very, very tough. But I did that for years. And, you learn how to scale and build traditional companies and how to do that. And then years later, I was introduced from one of my best friends, like most people in the direct sales world. I was introduced to the direct sales world from one of my best friends. And because it was services and essential services, I was fascinated by that world. I was also fascinated by the direct sales world, where you don't have to have an office, you don't have to have employees or
Right.
capital expenditures or payroll or accounts receivable or accounts payable, none of that stuff. All that stuff was taken care of you. I go, wait a minute, this is a very interesting model. All I could do was the fun part, which was the marketing part and
Right,
the
right,
promoting part and the building a team part. The fun part about building a business, that was always fun for me. It
right.
was the operation part that I hated. Like probably, I'm sure most people, that's the stuff that kills you. That's the stuff that gives you a premature death. And so for me, when I saw that, I got started very part-time, a few hours a week. I was still running four companies at the time when
Wow.
I saw the direct sales opportunity. But I got started, got excited about the opportunity, and eventually started to learn a system. And then from that system, I was able to grow it and learn. I had to learn, and we'll talk about those things that I went through that I had to learn to be able to span it through 27 countries now that I've acquired hundreds of thousands of customers.
That is
So
awesome.
it's been quite the journey, but well worth it, well worth learning. It's funny. I went to business school, and a lot of the things that you learn when you're in school has nothing to do with leadership,
Right.
nothing to do with building an organization. It all has to do with spreadsheets, which is fine, but it doesn't teach you how to be an entrepreneur, a leader, someone that can lead a team. And
Right.
so that's really something you got to learn, when you're on the ground. That's one of the things this incredible industry has taught me. I'm forever grateful for it because it makes you a better entrepreneur, regardless of if you're going to be in direct sales or not.
Okay, so you gave us your backstory, which is awesome. Now, tell us why you got in direct sales. I guess you kind of told us a little bit, but we really want to know where it all really started. Because you sounded like you're a businessman from before, so you kind of knew how business worked. Just let us know exactly what made you want to jump in.
That's a great question. I think it's different for everybody. For me, is I was sold on the concept of time and money together. Well, when you're running companies I was running at that time companies for 15 years before I saw a direct sales opportunity like the one I got involved with. You start to appreciate, man, I would love to have more time with myself, my family, to travel more, do more things. Yeah, I
Right.
obviously want to work hard and build the business, but once you build it, you want to be able to enjoy your life. You want to
Exactly.
be able to have some time. to enjoy the fruits of your labor versus continuously building. And then I saw some of my friends that have built very large companies, became very, very wealthy. But at the age of 50, they looked like they were 80. I didn't want to look like I was 80 when I was 50. And it's just because of all the stress and the 18 to 20 hour days. And look, it's one way to live life. It doesn't have to
Right.
be the only way, right?
Right.
And so when I was introduced to the model, I saw people, everyday people, able to make really good living, whether it was just a couple of bucks or in some cases a lot of money. And I saw an opportunity where I wanted to make a lot of money. I said, okay, you know what? If I could do that and build a tremendous residual income, that would give me a whole different quality of life. At the same time, and this is the part that really put me over the top, I love to help people. And I remember when I was owning my traditional businesses and looking at my employees, I built one company to almost 300 employees. And I
Wow.
was always looking at them thinking, they always would come into my office asking for a raise. And I couldn't do it because, you got to, everybody's got to be in a certain category of how much you can pay somebody. Otherwise, the company
Exactly.
goes out of business, right?
Right.
No matter how good they are, no matter how much great work they do, you can only pay them so much. And the thing that got me excited about the direct sales industry is if you have and we know, you and I know there's good companies and there's bad companies. In the good companies, anyone can out earn anyone.
That's right.
And I saw a model where that's possible. I go, wow, that got me really excited because I can get people to look at an opportunity as a side hustle, make some extra money, and then they weren't limited what they could earn. In my company, they couldn't out earn me, just the way that it was, right?
Right.
But in this, and whatever, and the really good direct sales opportunity, anyone could out earn anyone. In ours, you could even out earn the owners, which is amazing. So
Wow.
that's a really good model, and that got me excited. And then I could help them, so I can take all my knowledge I had in building a business and bring it to the table and coach them and mentor them on mindset and what it takes and what commitment is and what consistency is and discipline is.
Right.
And then what are those principles and the language needed to build a business and to enroll people. So you learn all those things in building companies. And I go, you know what? I have a lot to contribute here. It's a way I can give this back to young entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs in general, or people that always wanted to get into it,
Right.
but for whatever reason were afraid to, and for almost no money, they could do it in this case.
Awesome. All right. So you talked about mindset. You talked about commitment. You talked about consistency. You talked about discipline. What are those are like the four cornerstones of direct sales that often people don't want to hear about. They just kind of want to know what the secret sauce is. So let's talk about mindset first. Why is mindset so important when it comes to a direct sales business?
That's a great question. So here's what I'll say. Those are pillars of success in anything, in life, in business, and anything. And unfortunately, in today's world, too many people are, I don't know why, but they're attracted to the victim mentality lifestyle.
Mm,
And what I always tell people, look, you're more than welcome to be a victim and be a victim in life and say, woe was me, and think that's going to do some virtual signaling for you. That doesn't help you in achieving results and achieving a life that you love and achieving a life of extraordinary results. I
right.
had a great mentor when I was young, and I was like everybody else. I love to be a victim. I think one of the things that is to be human is to be attracted to be a victim because there's no accountability there, right?
Right.
There's no responsibility there. There's something attractive to that, right? Oh, I don't have to be responsible for anything.
Right.
Unfortunately, it doesn't give you the results or the quality of life that you want. So my mentor said to me, I had a great mentor. He said, look, Franco, what kind of life do you want? Do you want an extraordinary life? Do you want an ordinary life? Do you want a horrible life? I go, I want an extraordinary life. I said, okay. So I'll tell you the secret to an extraordinary life. I said, what's that? He said, you got to be willing to be accountable for everything that happens in your life, regardless of how ridiculous it seems.
Right.
I'm like, wow. So I said, okay, that's very interesting. And I'll never forget this. I remember my 30th birthday. There's a time in my life I was very shy. I had almost no friends. And I was about 25, 26. And then I started into this personal growth journey. And all of a sudden, I came out of my shell. Like I couldn't even go to a party and ask a girl on a date. That's how
Wow.
shy I was, if you could believe it. That's how I was. And so when I started coming out of my shell and going on my personal growth journey, and getting mentors and learning and getting out of
Right.
my comfort zone, I remember it was my 30th birthday. I'll never forget this. It was my 30th birthday, and I was like, wow, I don't know what to do. I want something grandiose. I want something big, but no one's offering a party. No one's doing anything. So I called my mentor. I'm like, I'm depressed. He goes, why are you depressed? He goes, I'm turning 30, but nothing's going on here. And he said, well, throw your own party. And I looked at him. I go, I can do that? He goes, yeah, you can throw your own party.
Wow, you needed permission, huh?
I know. Go throw your own party. Why not? Have fun. Create the party you've always wanted. So I did. I created a party, and it was, I'm not going to say the theme, it's not appropriate for every day.
Right, I understand.
So I threw a party. 300 people showed up.
Wow.
And I couldn't believe it. This is like, I was a guy that 5 years before didn't have 5 friends. Literally didn't have 5 friends that could have come to a party. And how do I know that? Because my sister threw me a 25th year party, and 5 people showed up. 5 friends came. That's it.
Wow.
And so how far ahead, it goes to show you what mindset can do. When you take a different mindset, a different accountability, a different way of thinking, you attract people in a whole new different way.
Right.
So if you're going to be in business, you need a mindset of accountability. You need a mindset that says, you know what? I refuse to be a victim no matter what the circumstances. I refuse to put myself in any situation where I will be a victim. I will always be accountable. I will always be responsible for everything that happens, no matter how ridiculous it may sound.
Right.
And when you start taking that approach, listen, magic happens. You'll start attracting people like you. Because think about it. If you're being a victim, who are you going to attract?
More victims.
More victims. And what are they going to do? Are they going to start building a business for you?
No, they're going to tell you, oh, yeah, you're right. It's everybody else's fault. It's not yours.
That's right. And you're going to have a pity party and nothing gets done. And everybody stays broke. You know, it's just not going to be very successful. But if suddenly you become this powerhouse, unstoppable force of nature, where you take 100% accountability, you're going to start attracting like-minded people.
Exactly.
And when you start attracting, because look, think about this. If you're going to build whatever business you want to build, whatever success you want to have, you got to surround yourself with like-minded people, because one thing I've learned from many mentors of mine is the environment that you're in will always win. So if you're in a victim mentality environment, all you can attract is failure. But if you're in an environment that's empowering, that everybody's working hard, it's like they're accountable, they're all going through a like-minded goal, you will win by default, because the environment must always win.
Right.
You can't be in a negative environment and expect to be positive. So either you remove yourself from the environment that's debilitating you and put yourself in a positive environment, or you're going to fail.
Right.
Or you have to be able to transform it in a way that everybody around you becomes the way that you want to be and the way that you are being. And that's leadership. Right. Leadership is about that. And if you look at companies that are great, organizations in direct sales that are great, it starts with who? The leader.
Exactly.
The leader of that team adopts and develops that mindset, and therefore attracts those people to that organization, and they take on the character and personality of the leader because they've attracted those people. So that's why mindset is absolutely critical in any kind of form of entrepreneurship or any kind of success that you want to have. And by the way, it will also determine the kind of relationship and the person in the relationship you're going to attract.
Exactly.
Because if you're a victim-minded person, you're going to attract victim-minded people in your life for relationships, not just in business or anything you do. What's that old saying? How you do anything is how you do everything.
That's right. So I'm curious, when it comes to mindset, you talked about mindset and how it's accountability. With that said, do you think that's why some people have given direct sales a bad rap? Is because they come in with that victim mentality that it's everybody else's fault but theirs, and they don't necessarily have the commitment, the discipline, or the consistency or mindset to walk it out like they really want it, if they really wanted that business to work? I'm curious about that.
That's a complicated question. So I'll answer it this way. We have a saying: the problem isn't the direct sales industry, it's the people in it.
Right.
And what I mean by that is, look, the beauty of direct sales is anyone can do it.
Right.
The problem with direct sales is you can attract anybody to do it.
Exactly.
And so it's everything's a double-edged sword, right? Everything. And so if you think about this, everybody wants a get-rich quick scheme. Everybody, I think our brain is kind of wired to want that, because fundamentally, including myself, we're all lazy, right?
Right.
but I always say, work hard to be lazy later, not be lazy today.
Right.
And so what happens is it'll attract people that, and this is normal in every direct sales company. People will come in, and most people, to be honest, that I've experienced, like I built a team of tens of thousands of people all over the world. And what I've learned and what I've seen is a lot of people come in with insecurities, afraid. That's okay. It's normal. It's normal human behavior. And so what happens is if you have a system that there is to follow, like most companies, like you have a system, most people have a system that you follow, right?
Right.
The problem is if you're insecure and you don't follow the system, well, then it's up to you to achieve success. Now, maybe you will have success, maybe you won't outside the system, but we do know that if you follow the system, the chance of you succeeding are exponentially greater.
Right.
The problem is, and what stops people from following the system is their own fear and insecurity. Whether it's talking to people, whether it's communication skills, whether it's what they say, whether it's their own ability to be coached. So if I look at people that have become successful in the industry, they've got three things. Number one, they've got an incredible desire to change their life. You have to have a desire to change your life from where it is now. Number two, they have incredibly coachable. So they're willing to take coaching from people that have had the success and willing to follow that pathway versus going off on their own. Now, if they want to go off on their own, it's fine. But what I found is the people that are the most successful are willing to follow a path from a mentor and just do exactly what they did in the same way.
Right.
And the third thing that I learned is that they have a discipline to keep daily actions and take daily steps towards their success without worrying about their current success. Because what happens is we look for instant results and instant gratification, like putting popcorn in a microwave, right? But we also know that if you put popcorn in a microwave for 10 seconds, nothing happens.
Exactly.
And if you do it for 20 seconds, nothing happens. And if you pull it out, put it back in, you could do that 100 times, 10 seconds on, 10 seconds in, the popcorn will never pop. It needs to be in there for 2 to 3 minutes consistently.
Exactly.
And so one of the hardest things to teach is consistency. Say, look, have faith. You got to trust this is going to work. Keep at it. And it was same with me. I talked to the owners of our company when I first got started, and for a short time, I wasn't having any success. And I called him and I said to him, look, I'm struggling with this. I'm not having the success that I want. And he goes, well, okay, well, Franco, you built companies, correct? I go, yeah. And how long did each company take to break even? I go, well, 3 to 5 years. So he starts laughing at me. He goes, well, you haven't been in that long.
Right.
I go,
exactly.
But he goes, like building a business is like everything else. It takes time. It takes discipline. And I goes, oh, okay. When I got that, when I related it to traditional business, like for some reason, we don't want to relate direct sales to traditional business.
Right.
We want to relate it to something like a get rich quick scheme. And it's not that. It's really about working hard. Now, can you make a tremendous amount of money in the industry? Sure, you can. Most people don't get involved for that. Just want to make a few bucks. Right. But you can't. And so what there is to do is treat it like any other business. The problem is getting into a lot of these direct sales companies cost almost nothing, right?
Right.
And so you're related to it that way versus like one of my companies, I had to raise $40 million to start it. Well, you're going to work a lot harder when you got to raise $40 million and you have investors that call you every day. Hey, what's happening? How's it going? How's your success? You know, it's very, very different how you relate to it. So we'll attract all kinds of people to answer your question. And unfortunately, we're going to have to go through a lot of people to find those people really committed, that really are hungry, willing to change your life, and all the rest, you know, if they flame out, you know, look, if they're willing to be honest, they'll say it was them. If they're not, they'll blame the opportunity.
Everybody else.
And that goes back to what we were talking about before, being victims, right?
Right.
So, like, I have no problem with somebody that comes into the opportunity, doesn't do anything, and says, that was on me. Great opportunity, just wasn't for me, whatever. I have no problem with that. What the problem is when people come in and they'll blame the opportunity or this or that. And I always ask them, well, what did you actually do?
Right.
Oh, how many people did you actually call? What conversation did you actually have? Well, I had one. Okay. All right. Well, got it. Thank you very much for sharing.
Right. I'm with you. But thank you for that candid answer. I appreciate that. And I'm sure the viewers would appreciate that as well.
And I think anyone in direct sales will understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So you've given us so many golden nuggets here. So if you said that how to build a side hustle in the modern economy. So when you think about that, how would you break that down to someone that's just starting out in direct sales?
That's a great question. So first of all, it also will determine which opportunity you go into. So I always tell people, look, if you're going to put your time into anything, A, make sure it's legitimate. We know there's a lot of non-legitimate companies out there, which is kind of sad. So
Right.
you've got to look at the track record of a company. Look at the owners of that company. Before I got started with my company, I had lunch with the owners of the company. And I asked them questions. And I found out who they were as people. Because my father always said to me, a company will always go as the ownership goes.
Right.
And if you're going to be in direct sales, you want to get into it because you want to get paid for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. Not that the company won't be around 5 years from now, right?
Right.
And so that's the first criteria is, are you in a solid company? Is the company part of the Direct Sellers Association that governs the rules and ethics of the
For
industry?
sure.
If they're not, hey, reconsider
Red
that company,
flag.
what they're doing. There's so
Yeah.
many these crazy crypto MLM companies located in Dubai. Like, why are they in Dubai? Because they're not legal here. There's a reason.
Right.
And so if you're risking your time and money into something, be very careful about what you're doing. For me, I'd rather know I'm in a solid company. I can see people making money. It's effective, great ownership. I can close my eyes and get to work. And I know that it'll be around 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now. That's what I want. That's what I want to know.
For sure.
And so that's the first thing I would say. In a modern economy, you want to get involved in something that if you put your time into it, you're not wasting your time.
Yeah.
And that's easily doable and easily reviewable based on the company. That's the first thing. The second thing is you want to get involved with a company whose products and services are great. They bring great value to people. They actually
Right.
make a difference in the world, whether it saves people money because of the services they provide or the product does something amazing. So you want to do your work and make sure, because a lot of you know this thing as well as I do. A lot of these companies make these crazy claims
Right.
about stuff, and they have no right making those. First of all, they're breaking a lot of FTC rules by making those claims.
Right.
But you want to do the product yourself, research it, understand it. What's it all about? Is it what they say it is? And then for yourself, do the research yourself and do that. And then third, understand the compensation plan. Does the compensation plan allow you to get to where you want to get to? So you need to know your own financial goals. One of the first questions I ask someone when they join our team is, what's your financial goal? Where do you want to get to? How much
Right.
money do you want to make over the next 3 to 5 years? And then we'll create a plan for them. Because that's what a good mentor coach does. It creates a plan for their people.
Exactly.
And so if you want to be a leader in the industry, you got to know your own compensation plan and how to coach somebody simply and effectively to understand what they've got to do, what actions they've got to take every day, every
Right.
week to get to that goal. And then the last thing I'll say is it's got to be a real, true residual income opportunity. So people today, they want to be able to build their business from anywhere. They want to go to
Right.
the beach. They want to go from the house. They want to travel while they're traveling, whether they're on the mountain, it doesn't matter.
Yep.
They want to be able to build their business virtually. So can your business be built virtually? Can your
Yep.
business be built online? Can it be built in a way that's scalable from
Right.
wherever you are? Because people also want to be able to keep earning. So they want to be able to get to a certain level, yes, but then can they keep growing it and scaling it to another level of income? So those are all important things so they can earn true residual income. Because if all you're doing is exchanging time for money, then you might as well have a job. There's
Exactly.
no difference. And there's a lot of direct sales businesses that pretend to be residual income, but they're really not. So you just got to do your homework. Is this a real residual income opportunity? Or am I exchanging more time for money to
Right.
do that? And then the last thing is, and this is sometimes a taboo subject, but I'll tell people till I'm blue in the face. You need to learn sales skills.
For sure.
Look, you want to be an entrepreneur. I don't care what business you're in. Either you're selling yourself, you're selling the service, or you're selling the opportunity. Either way, you're always selling. And here's what I'll always tell people. I was just on Robert Kiyosaki's podcast, and he had a whole thing on sales and what sales are. Because a lot of people don't understand that sales skills and closing and all those skills that go along with sales are so important to your own success. So it's not
Right.
hard to learn. It's really not hard to learn. And to me, sometimes people say to me, well, I'm not a salesperson. I'm like, no, you just haven't taught yourself those skills. Nobody's born not being a salesperson. Okay.
Right.
And I'm a great example. I was the shyest, most terrified person. I couldn't sell anything to anybody. But by learning, by getting out of my comfort zone, I learned sales.
Right.
But it wasn't natural to me growing up. It wasn't something I focused on. That's something I learned. It wasn't something that was not innate to me. For sure, it wasn't natural to me because I like some kids grow up in that environment and they become that way. I wasn't that way, and so I had to learn those things. And those are now with YouTube and everything else. I mean, you can learn everything for free these days. It's
Yeah.
amazing. You don't have to take a course. It's all available to you. And so, my recommendation, if you want to be in direct sales industry, learn sales.
Exactly.
Learn skills from different perspectives, different people, because you're going to learn different things from different people. And you can apply those things. I'm telling you, you'll have a great career in the industry.
Well said. Well said. Do you have any final thoughts to kind of close us out today?
Listen, we live in a crazy time, right? Whether it's politically, whether it's economically, there's scary times coming. I'll say that for sure. And direct sales to me, because we're talking about that today in this context, is a great equalizer. And so I recommend everybody get involved in some form of direct sales company as a side hustle because you never know what can happen to your primary. Look at all these employees from big tech companies making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year now, gone. They're
Right.
all being laid off. Well, you better have a side hustle. So I always tell people, look, direct sales is a great side hustle, regardless of how great your primary income is right now, because it's never forever.
Right.
And so always have that side hustle ready to go, something that can give you a true residual income, that can give you a soft landing. God forbid something should happen to your primary income, like it's happening to right now hundreds of thousands of people. And
Right.
so learn that, take advantage of that, do your homework. Don't just pick the first one that comes to you. Do your research, learn, make it intentional which opportunity you go into by because you've done your research. Because the world's changing, the economy's changing. What people want is changing. And I'll tell you one thing people want. People want more time and freedom than ever before.
Oh,
People
yeah.
want that. COVID spoiled us.
Yes, it
So we
did.
want that. And so I always like, and direct sales is the perfect spoiling business because you can do it from anywhere and just follow a simple system that your coaches and mentor teach you, and you'll have. I think you'll have success if you just follow it. But you got to follow it, and you have to go through your own personal growth as part of the journey.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your wisdom today. You gave us some great golden nuggets that I'm sure people would be able to implement if they're willing to take their business to the next level as well as their personal growth.
And Inga, I want to thank you because by doing things like this, you're doing such a big service to everyone because you're giving people great training and coaching and help to people that maybe otherwise wouldn't. Or we know in direct sales, a lot of orphan teams out there that don't have
Right.
mentorship or
Oh,
coaching, and
yeah.
that you're doing this is huge. So I appreciate everything that you do.
Well, thank you for that because I know I was one of those orphan direct sellers. So I've
There's
been
a lot of
there,
us out
done
there,
that.
exactly.
Yeah, I know. It's just like me. So yeah, I'm speaking to me of, a
That's
couple of years
awesome.
ago back, that I know they want to make their business work and they're trying to do everything in their power to do it, but they don't have someone that they can go that will really mentor them, kind of talking to what you were talking about, being able to mentor them and kind of guide them along the way. So
Love it.
yeah, that is definitely my plight of helping the people that have those MIA uplines. So totally, totally, totally in for that. Well, as always, you all, thanks for watching and bye for now.